In 2012, it cost the US Mint more than 10 cents to make a nickel. Maybe cash just doesn't add up. In 1200 BC, the ancient Chinese were using cowrie shells like these as standard currency. And you're not missing anything. These are just shells, sort of stuff you might see dangling from a surfer's wrist. But at one time, this was one of the most widely circulated currencies in world history. Now, paper currency came to China in the 7th century during the Tang Dynasty, and here in the Western world, it's still the biggest game in town. But there are some problems with paper banknotes. I mean, just think about it. You can damage them, so they could drown in the washing machine. Or if you've ever seen an armored vehicle, you know that moving large amounts of paper currency around requires a lot of energy and money itself. And then there's counterfeiting. We've spent a lot of energy and a lot of technology to thwarting counterfeiters, using everything from fluorescent detection to watermarks to microprinting to holograms. How about quantum cash? No, I'm not talking about some strange, spooky quantum effect. What I'm talking about are dollar bills that have photons embedded in them, polarized in a very particular direction. So when you hand that dollar bill over, they put it through a quantum scanner to make sure it's the real stuff. So there's no doubt about it. Paper money is a big hassle, and some countries are trying to move away from that. In fact, over in Sweden, only 3% of their entire economy is represented by actual physical currency. So I know you're asking the question, is it possible for us to move into an entirely cashless world? Want to buy a falafel while you wait for the bus? Just tap your phone against the vendor's payment point. Using near-field communication, the vendor reads a radio signal from your e-wallet, and the cost is automatically deducted from your account. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happens if some rogue, malfunctioning robot were to pick up that phone and try to use it in an attempt to understand what it means to love? Well, Robbie's out of luck because the phone is dependent upon biometric scans of the veins in your hand before it will even release the credit. And while we're talking about biometrics, what if we just got rid of the phone? What if all of our purchases were related to retinal scans or fingerprint scans? So if physical cash is going out the window, what is the future of currency itself? Well, money is intrinsically democratic, and what I mean by that is it has value because we've all agreed that it has value. I mean, think about it. What makes a dollar bill more valuable than a sticky note? Well, it's because we all believe that that dollar bill has value. But if one day we just wake up and suddenly we all believe the sticky note is more valuable, it would be. Let's take Bitcoin, for example. It's a digital currency. It's all based on peer-to-peer sharing. What if Bitcoins one day became more valuable than dollars? They could if we all agreed on it. Well, we have to deal with that. And some countries are already introducing their own digital currencies. Canada in 2012 introduced the Mint chip. After all, despite the move towards cashless living, will we ever actually live in a world where we get away from physical currency entirely? I mean, there's something to be said about being able to actually hold an example of your wealth in your hands. But if we are going that far, we might as well go all the way to the future envisioned by Star Trek, where wealth is a thing of the past. Heck, in that future, I don't even know what money would mean. And that's my 2 cents.